Samasthajanakalyane niratam karunamayam namami chinmayam devam sadgurum brahmavidvaram sadgurum brahmavidvaram. Hari Om. Pujya Gurudev's target was the intellectuals of the country. In the initial years, all the intellectuals would go to Gurudev's lecture to listen to his oratory and the command over the English language. One such person who went to listen to Pujya Gurudev's talks in mid-50s got fascinated, but his real relationship with Pujya Gurudev started in 74, and from then till day 2014 it is. No looking back. How the relation between Pujya Gurudev and him developed, not only Pujya Gurudev, Pujya Guruji also. Both of them are very fond of him. They had lot of trust on him. For Gurudev, it is Krishnamoorthy, and for Guruji, it is Thatha. Now, when I say Thatha, I need not elaborate anything, even a word more also. Now, how this beautiful relationship between him and Gurudev had developed, how Gurudev had lot of trust on him, how Gurudev had depended on him. Let us listen from his own words. Hari Om, Uncle. How did you come in contact with Pujya Gurudev?
Well, as you said, I interacted or I met him closely in 74 in Delhi. But much before that, maybe in 58, 59, in Calcutta, I have seen him conducting a yajna near my house, and my wife was a regular visitor. I have just come back from UK after some studies and work, and I was not very keen to get into spiritual side of the story of the life yet, and but my wife was very highly spiritual, and therefore she was attending the classes. Now, she had told him that my husband, where is your husband, or some question was asked, and she had told him that he has just come back from UK, and then she insisted that I must come to his talk one day. The last day I went, and that is when I saw him first. And then he looked at me and he said, "Oh, you are the one who have come from UK just now?" Yes, I know. We used to call him Swamiji in those days. I was involved with my work and putting up my factories and etc. And I was traveling around. And it was way back in 74, I was in Delhi. 72 I was in Delhi. Brahmachari Radhakrishnan was the secretary of Chinmaya Mission.
Swami
Jyotirmayananda later. He used to invite me and my wife to the Chinmaya Mission office, and it was on the main road, and it was in a basement. It was a very small office. It started off very, very small, and then slowly Brahmachari Radhakrishnan got me introduced, and then when Gurudev used to come, or Swamiji used to come to Delhi, then I will be introduced, and slowly the association started. And having been in the industry, I think Swamiji found that I have the capacity to organize and also to capacity to manage functions. I come from a very religious family, and being born in a Brahmin family in South India, and therefore to some extent I was also religious, and Guruji, Swamiji thought of me wherever there was some interaction between religion and spirituality, and used me in those areas. But basically, after a couple of years, his trust and faith in me was so complete that I can see that he was willing to give me a lot of work while I was still working myself and making a lot of money. And then he said that you organize the camps and yajnas. So I was made the secretary of Chinmaya Mission Delhi, and then I was vice president of Chinmaya Mission Delhi. It started by Swamiji and Brahmachari Radhakrishnan giving me a tremendous amount of authority and power to execute and conduct any talks. And in Delhi, we used to have at least 4,000-5,000 people attending his evening talks, and it was held in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan playgrounds, and it's a very large playground. It can accommodate 5,000-6,000 people without any problem, and then that is how it started.
Okay.
And yes.
Here I want to ask you one question. One hand, your job, okay. On the other hand, mission activities. Mission activities, Gurudev wanted everything perfect. So how did you balance both of them?
Now, there is no question of balancing. You constantly learn from him. I can only say that his insistence on very punctuality and very clear understanding of the situation was so important that I could apply that in my own company. Say, for instance, he will ask me, how is the company doing? I will say, yes, it's doing very well. And,
what company is it?
I was promoter of a very large paper and paper making and printing ink company in Delhi area. And we had hundreds of workers, 700, 800 workers. In fact, Gurudev Swamiji had been there once or twice. And the success that I achieved was because of him telling me that it is very important that you learn to share your prosperity. In those days, in the way back in 70s, the communist unions were very, very powerful. I don't know whether you have ever heard about it. CITU and other unions were very powerful in that area. And but despite the fact I had about 600, 800 people, engineers and other workers working in my company, there was no union. Whereas next door in a rice mill, there may be about 40, 50 people, there was a union. Now, the reason for that is this, that I learned from Gurudev, that Swamiji, that be open, be honest and be open. And there is no opaqueness in the performance of the company and the workers. They were part and parcel of the company. That is what he used to teach me. Okay. That is what he used to teach the members of Chinmaya Mission. Every Chinmaya Mission member is a part of the whole, and it is not just individuals, they are not individual satellites. So you have to merge and you have to coalesce together into one full Purnatvam, and then that only it will succeed. Yes. So when you asked me about how did you manage these two, it was a question of learning from him and applying it in my life, daily life. He had 5,000 people, but when they all come and sit down, not one will get up. I don't know whether you have heard about it.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, so not one will get up or anything, and they will not disturb the talk. Yes. Only once I remember very rarely. Once a lady came late and she came and wanted to sit right in the front. So Gurudev stopped talking.
Yeah.
Pregnant silence. And then when finally after 2 or 3 minutes, which looked like a yoga for me because I'm organizing that, and I was trying to tell her, come on, quick. But anyway, finally when she sat down, he said, Amma, are you comfortable? Have you settled down? Yes. Then suddenly he said, Sharam nahi lagta? I tell you, what a noise! शर्म नहीं लगते हैं तुमको? इतना आदमी को डिस्टर्ब किया 3 मिनट के लिए, आगे ऐसा मत करना. The next minute he was on his own about talking about everything else. He had forgotten that incident, but of course that lady would never do that again. That is how he enforced the discipline. Very, very one sentence, half sentence. That once I had invited the Vice President of India to inaugurate
Gurudev's Yajna.
Gurudev's Yajna.
In Delhi.
In Delhi. And I have repeated this earlier. And that I have repeatedly told the personal officer that, look, 6:30 means 6:29, he will be there.
Okay.
So please make sure that Your Excellency comes in time. But 6:30, in those days there were no smart telephone or anything. You have to go to the nearby shop in order to ring up. And telephone booth. And then I called up and I found that at 6:30 he is still now about to leave from his house. So I came back running. Guru Swamiji looked at me and he said, huh? I said, okay. Then he said, start. Then the prayer was sung and he started. That seat next to him was kept aside as it is. And about 10-15 minutes later, the Vice President came and I escorted him back to the front seat and made him sit there for another 5 minutes. And for the first 5 minutes after he came, I don't think Gurudev even looked at him. But after that, he looked at him and he said, our chief guest has come. So may I invite him now to come up.
Okay.
And absolutely fearless. That's another thing I learned from him. Slowly and steadily, Sidhabari came up. So eventually we reached the top. Then as Swamiji's nature, he went around and he said, what a beautiful place, lovely, how lovely. You know, the Dauladar mountain with the snow-capped mountains and all that. So he said that he just put his stick into one place and he said, Krishnamoorthy, we will construct a Sri Hanuman here, 32 feet tall. Okay, Swamiji. Because every word of he expresses is a command for me, as far as I am concerned at that moment. He said, get through to Bangalore and get that Achari from Bangalore, I forget his name.
Yes, that sculptor from Bangalore.
Yeah,
right,
correct.
Right.
And I will get his name shortly, but it is already there in history. And he was called in. So 2 months later when we went again, I went with them and with Swamiji, and he was asked to make a small replica of the Hanuman that he had in his mind.
Okay.
And he has explained it to him. That is still there. That replica is still there in
Sidhabari Gurudev's Kutia.
Gurudev's Kutia. Then he made a slight adjustment on the biceps and he said, okay, fine. This is what is going to be constructed here. So I was made in charge of that construction. And then we had the inaugural, what is it called, Pradishta and everything. And every detail was worked out by Swamiji and told that you have to bring 11 Brahmins from Delhi and what are the items you are going to bring. You are talking about his meticulous detail, meticulous attention to the detail.
Yes, right.
Here I am, I have written to him 3 full-scale sizes of small items like rice, kumkum, chandan, how many grams each one I am going to buy, bring with me, and how many of those items that we will buy in Delhi and how many of the items we will buy in Sidhabari itself. Everything, almost 3 pages of this, maybe 150, 180 items. He has gone through it and at the end he writes, Krishnamoorthy, well done, but you have forgotten matches.
Really?
Can you imagine?
Uncle, here I'll tell you something really nice. When I went to Sidhabari, you remember last time we were there for Hanuman Abhishek? I was digging all the letters. I hardly could find any. But later on I found this Jagdish Ji's letters from Gurudev. You know how many letters are there? 3,000 letters.
Yes.
Okay. And there I was surprised to see the pedestal, the size of the pedestal, Ram Mandir's this thing, the trees where they have to be planted, which tree where, what type of drip irrigation should be given, where, and switches, which switch, where, and how much of cement and the sand should be mixed. All this, we were awestruck reading those letters, and this our Madhwalji, for him to my God, what plants and how, what type of
Madhwal was a real worker.
Yeah, they were really surprising, those letters. And in fact, Rama Mandir too, my God, he drew the sketch, the width of the basement and the width of the thing, what type of idol should be there and what it is, the picture, outline, sketch, everything. This was the first Hanuman Abhisheka that you have organized through by his instructions.
Yeah. After that, for every 5 years, for 30 years I have done it. And I must confess that I have had the singular opportunity to work under 2 successive Mahatmas. I was told to go to Chennai. I told him that I will go to Chennai. Then he said, going to Chennai, okay, I have a very big project, good project. And this project is at Thamaripakam. There is about 10 acres of land which has been donated to us. Why don't you build a temple? Now, Swamiji used to send me wherever a temple has to be built. I had gone to Assam, Dayabari, tea estate. So there's a letter there. Go there and for Shiva, for Lord Shiva. So it is. It's very difficult to summarize my entire 40 years of close association with Chinmaya Mission and Gurudev and Guruji Maharishi. I had been to various other religious gurus to understand, but Swamiji's method of teaching was absolutely, we were at the same wavelength.
Yes.
That's what it is. And
right.
He could come down to my level and I could reach his level.
Yeah, Uncle. Thank you so much for making this happen. They made this happen and I'm grateful to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Uncle.
Hari Om. Hari Om.